And good afternoon, Winnipeg High School Hockey League fans, and to the return of Scholasticks on G-Show Productions. I'm your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. We are live on our YouTube channel, as well as on our website here for episode 10. Exciting day ahead today for us, as we're going to be broadcasting J.H. Bruns is taking on the Calvin Clippers at the Southdale Community Center, or Community Club, whichever way you want to refer to it. But yeah, we're brought to you by Goaltenders, Movement, Fitness, and Performance, Terraco, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, and Elite Prospects. We have an A-Division coach joining the show today, as you saw by the promo screen, in Joel Schreyer. His team, when I joined him last time, was about to take on
Joel
the
Schreyer,
Sturgeon
head
Heights
coach
Huskies, as I guess that's a little sneak peek of the interview. But before we get into that with Joel Schreyer, I want to take you through what happened yesterday in our game of the month. Notice something in the standings? Well, that's Vincent Massey with their first loss of the season, coming yesterday to the Sturgeon Heights Huskies, as it was quite a battle throughout. Sturgeon Heights got off to an early lead and ended up being able to hold. We'll show you those highlights now. Husky Therian swoops in from the point, plays that into the opposite corner in the direction of McGregor. It doesn't matter. Or it does, as it's into the back of the net! As right after the power play expires, Sturgeon Heights able to get off to the 1-goal lead. In fact, it's their first shot of this matchup. A game that has the makings to be very entertaining against two of Manitoba's best high school hockey teams here in the Platinum Promotions A Division. Nice move from Anderson, puts a Massey player on ice, almost tucks it and gets it back, scores! The big man, the magic man, in many ways there, and Jace Anderson makes his way inside the line, poked away. Van Graff shot, unable to get through. Yet another block today for Sturgeon Heights. Van Graff in the slot, scores! Well, after being contested on all game, and that really didn't end there, Vincent Massey has had Sturgeon Heights players draped all over them throughout this afternoon's contest. It's no different there on Van Graff's chance, but this time he... Massey, good pressure down low, takes it away again, fed over, but into the skate of delay. He tries to get that back in the slot, but it's taken away. Trying to find it in his skates is Adamic. Goes into the lane to try to block that shot. Got a block from Trichaco's stick instead. It's good enough to get out for Sturgeon Heights, but Johnstone back on it. Under 20 seconds remaining now. Flipped, cross ice, Dow gets a hack on it. Blair back on it, his draw pass, cut off right away, and just sent out by number 11 in Adamic. Been big time in this game, in these moments. 4 seconds remaining now. Sturgeon Heights gains a hold of it, and the first team to take down the Vincent Massey Trojans will be the Sturgeon Heights Huskies. What a performance from that man in net, who gets congratulated all around with a big team hug from his teammates. Connor Fry with a 37-save performance. And a 2-1 win, a 2-1 victory for the Sturgeon Heights Huskies. And what a victory that was for the Sturgeon Heights Huskies, as we'll put it on the board once again to show you all. 2-1 over the Vincent Massey Trojans, handing Vincent Massey their first loss of 2025-2026. I believe it's the first time that Massey has lost at any point so far this season, as not only does Sturgeon Heights take the victory against them, but they get a measure of revenge after losing to them in their first encounter this year in the 2025 Husky Classic Final, where Vincent Massey won by a score of 8-0. But this time around, the Trojans get bested in a highly competitive matchup, which sees Sturgeon Heights also jump to second in the standings. They'll be taking on Oak Park today, which is another huge matchup. Oak Park has the best line in hockey right now. Top line for Sturgeon Heights is pretty good too, as Jace Anderson, a part of that and back into the lineup, had 2 goals in yesterday's game. But as I said at the end of the broadcast, what a game for Connor Fry in net. He faced 38 shots in that game and came away with 37 stops. And you gotta give credit to Sturgeon Heights in this matchup. It just felt like it's an old cliche, but they wanted it more than Vincent Massey. Maybe that's the wrong term to use because Vincent Massey competed until the very end, but it just seemed like anything that Massey wanted to get going, Sturgeon Heights was able to take away space, which it's usually the other way around. Sturgeon Heights was getting into shooting lanes, taking away passing lanes all day long. There were some grade A opportunities where Vincent Massey, the Trojans, would whiff on the opportunity, but more times than not, Sturgeon Heights was able to get into lanes. They played a hard fought game, a game that felt like they were playing in a playoff game, to be honest with you. It felt like they were competing for more than just a regular season victory. They were competing to put out a statement win. And as this season goes along, Sturgeon Heights is rounding in to really nice form as they look to take down the first place Oak Park Raiders today. That game is going to be coming up this afternoon as we take a look. 4 p.m. at Keith Bodley Arena. So Sturgeon Heights will be back at home. But as for the guest of today's episode in Joel Schreyer, he's going to be joining me to talk about what the year's been like so far. Those teams come away with their first ever Buckeye Bowl win, their host tournament that has been going on for the past few years. We also talk about the transition up to the A division, what it's been like since starting off 2-0. Miles Mack has been struggling to get in the win column, but they do have a lot of promise, I feel like, and it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to put it together this year, as they were in the B division last year, now up to the A division. It was wonderful to be able to have a conversation with their head coach to get some more insight about this year's group. Up next, Joel Schreyer, joining this edition of the Scholasticks podcast, the official Winnipeg High School Hockey League podcast. You're on your home for Winnipeg High School Hockey League content on gshow Productions and gshow.ca. Joel Schreyer, head coach of the Miles Mack Buckeyes, joining this edition of the Scholastics podcast. Joel, this team has been able to play 6 games so far, some tournament action as well. Actually, this team coming away with the Buckeye Bowl championship this year, the first time this program has ever been able to win the host tournament. But yeah, just take me through what the journey's been like playing up in the A division so far this year.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a jump for us. I mean, if you had asked me a year ago, we didn't really foresee ourselves being back up in the A division for a while, but I think that just speaks to the amount of returning guys we've had this year and them able to elevate their play. Um, and yeah, as for the start of the season, we've only played, I guess, only 6 regular season games with, as you mentioned, the Buckeye Bowl tournament in there, and prior to that, we traveled to Ottawa for a tournament, which was a good challenge for our group.
Is that usually something that this Buckeyes program has seen in the past in terms of being able to get out of province for a tournament so early on in the season? What do you feel like the benefits are of this year specifically in terms of being able to do that, play not only league games but against other competition to start off the year?
Yeah, so on the hockey side of things, it's great to play against teams from other provinces or states, and something that we've done typically each year. We're not sure, how frequently that will continue moving forward, but away from the hockey, we always try and make it pretty educational as well. So our manager Gord Fritchie he's great at setting up all sorts of tours and educational experiences. He is a history teacher, so any city that we go to, we're definitely taking in a lot of the historical sites, and yeah, the boys really enjoy all that stuff, so it's nice.
Yeah, and of course, this is still, of course, high school hockey, and the hockey side is great, but being able to learn some vital history on the side, I think, is
a great experience for sure for these kids and for a team this year, like you said, a lot of experience heading in. Talk about how I guess this program has kind of been building up throughout these past few years to this point where this team's able to take that next jump to another division, something you felt maybe wouldn't have been the case looking back at last year at this time.
Yes, and like I mentioned, like just having so we have nine grade 12s this year, nine grade 11s, and only one grade 10. So just the general maturity of the group helps for us to elevate our play and go up a division. But yeah, it helps us coaches feel that what we're putting in has been working, or at least the guys are getting something from it when um, we're able to compete in the A division. And lately we've had some tough games, but I feel that we still haven't put together that full 50 minutes of a game. So when we do, I think we could do some good things up here.
Yeah, and this team started off the season, of course, 2-0 in league play, but like you said, it played some pretty tough competition, but some fairly competitive games to start off this season for the most part, and quite a weekend this team had back a few weeks ago now for the Buckeye Bowl, being able to take home that championship for the first time as the host school. Take me through, I guess, the pride this program feels finally being able to accomplish that goal.
Yeah, it feels good because in years prior, so this being the fifth tournament we've held, we hadn't even made it to the final game. So we had some tough luck in Ottawa. So a few days after, it was good to regroup and dive into our own tournament and come away with that win. But some really good competition. Featured some teams from rural Manitoba, some teams across our city, and then one from Kenora as well. But yeah, that's always meaningful for the guys to play for something during the season and for them to come away with it. We were proud of them.
Yeah, and great that this team was able to finally get over that hump of taking it a step further, of getting to a championship matchup and coming through with that victory. Looking at this year's team, though, with a lot of experience, a lot of returning players, let's talk about, I guess, the way this Buckeyes team plays out there, how you coach them in terms of how you want this team to operate on the ice.
Yeah. So I think lately, a major emphasis has been the defensive side of the game. So when we're playing these higher level teams, they can transition up ice really quick. In our defensive zone, you really need to be anticipating things a lot sooner. So I think skill wise, it's there for our group. I think we match up well in the skill department with a lot of teams, but really just stressing that work ethic and play away from the puck with a lot of structure because we feel that's the only way that we're going to have any success is if we get those things in order.
Yeah, and there's been a few notable players right now that have been stepping up on the stat sheet throughout the regular season. Ryder Pufall, who has 3 goals, same with Peyton Vieira. But only 5 players in total have been able to score so far. The depth, is this something the coaching staff expects to get going soon, more scoring by committee as the season gets going?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, a lot of our guys have had good chances to put the puck in, but it hasn't always worked out. Certainly, our I guess our top line that the two you've mentioned with Justin Rock as well. They're always finding ways to create, but it's a matter of us, I guess, getting the rest of the guys some more time in the offensive zone. Perhaps that has to go with mixing some lines up or whatever it may be. But overall, really satisfied with the group, and we know that those other guys will get their chances and will get their goals. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess knowing that as a coaching staff that you got a lot of potential in the lineup that is having good chances so far, just hasn't been able to quite capitalize. And you have these top end guys producing so far. How comfortable does that make it feel as a coach knowing that you can tweak the lineup around a bit and can get a lot of potential out of many of these players on the roster by doing that?
Yeah, we think that that could be useful, especially at this point with a few low scoring games on our end. And today we have a matchup against Sturgeon Heights, and we are missing a few bodies, so the lines will need to be mixed regardless. So hopefully that sparks a few things with some of our guys.
Yeah, and Sturgeon Heights, a high-powered offensive team
Mhm.
this year, going up against a very experienced team in their own right, and Belleville coming up on
Yeah.
Friday. What's been, I guess, the preparation for these two games coming up specifically, like you just mentioned, first up against a really good Sturgeon team?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to play with a lot of structure. As I mentioned, being down a couple bodies, we're going to need to shorten our shifts up, of course. And I think it'll be a good test, regardless of the outcome today. We'll focus on today for now, but I think once again, the more that we're playing these experienced, physical, quick teams, the better we'll be for it come January, February. But interested to see how today goes. We're looking forward to it. And then, of course, tomorrow's game. Belleville's always, we find they play a really good two-way style of game. Maybe nothing too flashy. We haven't seen them yet this year, but they always seem to find ways to get wins. So,
Yeah, and we'll be there to cover that game, of course. But Joel, I'll leave you off with this question. There's so much season left to be played, and this team is a newcomer to the A division this year. Been going up against very good teams to start off this season. As mentioned, how excited are you to just go along on this journey specifically with this team this year and to work on this process together of getting better together as the year goes along?
yeah, no, that's a great question because I wanted to add, yeah, like our group, it's so much fun coming to the rink, regardless of the wins or the losses. The messaging that we're giving the players at times, but overall, like we're really proud of these guys. Obviously, their growth on the ice, but just as individuals, it's been a fun journey with them. All the tournaments, travel. There's a lot of long weeks at the rink, but um, it's the best. When you reflect in the off season, I guess looking back at it, and I usually find myself just being very proud of the program that we've built at Miles Mac and all the great individuals that we developed through it.
Well, Joel Schreyer, a big part of this program being able to get to where it's at, joining this edition of the Scholastics podcast. Joel, can't wait to see this team in action come Friday. And yeah, best of luck moving forward this season for you, the rest of the coaching and staff, and of course, this Buckeye squad.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great to be joined by Joel Schreyer, head coach of the Miles Mac Buckeyes. And as we take a look at the standings where Miles Mac is, they find themselves near the bottom, but honestly, for a team that's 3-5, they look much better than that. I know that they only have 15 goals for. They have 28 goals against in 9 games played now, which is about 3 goals against per game in terms of the goal scoring factor for this team. However, they're under 2 per game. So once they can start to get that going, I think once they find offense, things should be a bit easier for this Miles Mac Buckeyes team, which was finally able to get back into the win column with a 2-0 victory yesterday over the Westwood Warriors. There were 3 games in total yesterday in the league, which saw Belleville able to get into the win column again with a 7-2 victory. Oak Park, they're in action again, of course, as mentioned, against Sturgeon Heights, coming off of a huge victory, but Sturgeon Heights coming off of probably the biggest victory out of anyone in the league so far this year. First team to be able to take down Vincent Massey, as mentioned. As well. And throughout that interview, we had talked about the games going into play against College Belleville and, of course, Oak Park. Those were 2 games that we ended up covering on our network. Or, sorry, not Oak Park. Miles Mac faced off against Sturgeon Heights last Thursday. But last Friday, they faced off against the College Belleville Barracudas, where we did some pregame interview type of stuff that we didn't have a chance to air, unfortunately. I'm not going to show the Miles Mac Buckeyes clip of their assistant coach who ended up joining me, but I am going to show the head coach of the College Belleville Barracudas, Miguel Mark, who talk about, the team heading into that game against Miles Mac, but we also talk about something that's bigger than hockey, the cancer care fundraiser that College Belleville was holding last Friday in support for cancer care, and all funds went back to Cancer Care Manitoba that were raised during a very special night, or special late afternoon game at the Cuda Tank at Southdale Community Club.
Coach Mark Hu of the Belleville Barracudas coached the team coming into a game today where it seems like they're finally healthy, coming over a illness. Take us through what the recovery's been like for this group.
Well, we had a lot of fun on our trip to Vancouver. Obviously, winning the whole tournament was an absolute thrill for us. But it kind of came at a cost of we came back with a lot of sick kids, so it's been a long week. We've had kids that have been out since we came back, which is over a week now. But that being said, we've had kids who've battled through. They've played some really good games, a lot of minutes for us, some bumps and some bruises, but I think we're good to go now, finally.
And that must say a lot about this group, shorthanded, being able to battle the way they have. I saw on Instagram the post saying the coaching staff was really proud. I'm sure that reigns true in real life as well.
Yeah. I mean, the best thing we can do for them is to keep encouraging them, right? Like, we've got a lot of kids that are playing. They've played positions they never played before because that's just the numbers we had. We even had some EPs come out and play for us on Wednesday, so it was their first taste of high school hockey. So we've been a mixed bag for the last week or so, but like I said, it's good to be back. The boys are very excited about this one.
Yeah, and going up against a Miles Mac team that's been playing some good hockey, but just haven't found the results they've been looking for. What's the message to this group going up against a team that's going to be hungry to get back in the win column?
Yeah, so actually we have a lot in common with Miles Mac because both teams came up from B Division. I believe they also have 14 or 15 returnees just like we do, and so we played them to really tight games last year, and so we're very familiar with each other, and so I think we both know what to expect from one another, and it's just really going to be who comes out and capitalizes first.
And last question for you here, Coach. Special day, of course, it's bigger than hockey, the Cancer Care fundraiser, something this team's been doing the last few years. Take me through why this day is so special.
Yeah, so it's something that we've been doing for the last 7 years, just raising money for cancer care, using our, we usually have some pretty well-attended home games, and so kind of using our home games as a way to get folks to donate to a good cause. But more recently, we had, this was a few years ago now, we had a parent on our team who is currently battling breast cancer, and she made it through, she survived, she's in good health today, and she's going to be the one dropping the puck for us today. And so for those who battled, continue to battle, or going through it, this is why we do it. Raise some awareness, raise some money, and come together for it.
That was McGill Marcoux heading into last Friday's matchup that his team had against the Miles Mac Buckeyes, where, as mentioned by myself, and at the end of that interview, much bigger than hockey itself that night, raising money for Cancer Care Foundation Manitoba, and as mentioned, a survivor very close to this team. In fact, the mother of defenseman in Flockton, Nancy Flockton, his mother, ended up having a chance to drop the puck ahead of a matchup that was very entertaining in itself that ended up going down to the wire.
Coach Mark.
Latta finds man up in the point. That's Fraze. D-to-D feed. That shot deflects. Two-man scores! Avery Hepburn lets one go. A bomb off of his stick past Butov on the power play for the Cudas. Skate of Sacco initially, now turned over into the slot. The Cudas find it in front. Delaron scores! for Hudson Delarone. He's able to find that loose puck in the slot and put it home past Butov. Stick of number 17 in Pufal. Nice job by Vieira to get this puck loose down low. Pufal up top to Cockerill. His shot turned aside. Loose puck in front. They tap it in and score. Well, it only took until 4:42 remaining in this hockey game, but alas, Miles Mack able to get onto the scoreboard for the first time today. Stop and Ham shutout. 3-1 the score in favor of the Barracudas. But Miles Mack now cut into this lead. Still a lot of time left to be played here from the slot. In front, scores! Saul making up for a bit earlier on in this period where he was robbed point blank by Ham. Right in the low slot. Well, this time he heads to the side of the net as the Buckeyes all of a sudden have. And College Belleville coming away with a 3-2 victory in that game where they got outshot Will Ham with a big performance in that matchup to help guide his Cudas to a victory. And yeah, as mentioned, special moment before that game started as Cole Flockton's mother, Nancy Flockton, dropped the puck, a breast cancer survivor. And for Belleville now, as we take a look at the standings, they moved to 5-4-1 with that victory at that time, but they're now up to 6-4-1. As Belleville was able to come away with a big 7-2 victory yesterday against Shaftesbury. No more games for them this week, as they'll be back in action again next week. As for the top of this division, we showed you this a bit earlier on in the episode, and we'll show you again. Oak Park's top line, all in the top 3 for points. Ridiculous. They've combined for 36 goals so far. Karsten Ross leading the league in goals with 16 to this point. Defenseman and Vincent Massey, captain, and Trevor Johnstone. No points yesterday, but man, did he look good despite Vincent Massey losing for the first time this season against the Huskies. Aiden DeLay also been big time. He leads Vincent Massey in goals so far this year. Casha Moore now with the best goals against average, a stunning save percentage so far with 2 shutouts, a 4-2 record for Steinbach, as he's been big time for his Sabres. For Noah Barnes, he suffered his first loss of his 2025-2026 campaign yesterday, but the number's still solid at a 920 save percentage and a 129 goals against average. Connor Fry, 3-0 record. His save percentage was at 944 yesterday, now up to 957. He was, sensational in that victory. The biggest reason at the end of the day why they end up winning that game, of course, along with the great effort in front of number 14 yesterday, too. But as for the A division, can't wait to cover more games from that side of things coming up next week. As, by the way, we're going to be dropping our December schedule very shortly here on Uscreen, as well as releasing it on social media. We're also going to have some fun marketing things that we've been cooking up for you fans to reap the benefits of, to enjoy. It is Christmas time coming up, so I feel like it's time to give back to our supporters a little bit. More news on that coming out next week on our social media, maybe even throughout the weekend. We'll have to wait and see. But I guess one of the last undefeated teams remaining, because the Niverville Panthers are also undefeated in the C division, but Louis Riel continues to be an absolute wagon. They're 2 goals away from cracking 100. 71 goals, 4 goals against differential is absurd. Unbelievable. Dakota shot up the standings. best defensive team in the league so far this year, with some offense to boot. 49 goals for, which is tied second most with Springfield, as we see there. SJR and CSLR is congratulations to CSLR. They ended up winning their first game of the season last week. 2-1 victory for the Renards. As tell you who exactly they did it against. It was against Sanford this week, actually, on Tuesday. It ended up happening, having my dates mixed up, but yeah, they're finally into the win column and are a point ahead of SJR now in the standings. As for the Renards, they're going to have a tough matchup coming up next week against Dakota. As we take a look at how this week's going to end off going here in the league, or this was a look at last week, as we see Louis Riel with back-to-back 9 pieces put up on their opponents, which is pretty insane. As for this week, Louis Riel hasn't actually been in action, as they'll be back in action, I believe, again next week. But J.H. Brunn's taking on Calvin today. That's going to be a game that's going to be seen on our network at 4:30 p.m. Dakota takes on Churchill. And then tomorrow, Gabois and SJR, along with Springfield and Calvin, will be facing off against each other. As for the points leaders, Luca Tatro has passed his teammate in John Thomas Cavell, but only separated by 2 points. They've been phenomenal this year. In fact, more than that, they have a whole squad of players that have been impressive this year. Jesse Traeger and Jacob Traeger both in the top 5 as well. Triton Georgery continues his monstrous season for Dakota with 24 points in 9 games played. And then look at that, Toby Hobday still in the top 5, tied for 5th in points with Georgery with 24 in 9 games. 2 less goals, 2 more assists. Devin Picklick continues to put up impressive numbers for Churchill. In fact, when you take a look at Churchill's win total this year, 4 victories, they've almost all come off of the back of Devin Picklick. He's got 3 wins, a .973 save percentage, under 1 goals against average, under .75, to go into more depth. But yeah, also a shutout. Been fantastic. Same as Brady Cawson, as he's got a true undefeated record and strong numbers throughout this top 5 goaltenders as we see them there. As for Lorette, they're atop of the standings by 1 point, but Niverville has 2 games in hand. In terms of gotta do this. Show you the scores right away. But lots of great teams in this division, by the way. It's been really exciting to watch C Division action already this year, and had a chance to do that actually yesterday, as we take a look at the scores from Monday, actually, or Tuesday, as we had Sturgeon Heights and Vincent Massey yesterday. Yesterday, we had a chance to see West Kildonan take on Linden Christian, as West Kildonan and the Wings ended up putting on a show at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex, as ended up, of course, going in favor of the Wolverines. We got the highlights next. Player now towards the net, a 2-on-1 developing. Back to the slot, into the back of the net, they score. Back to German. So dish that to the outside. Left face-off circle, shot through, rebound there, scores. We'll get his number in a minute. That was number 5 in Ing, who fired the shot. Back, Anderson Fisher to Ing again, scores! Number number 5 clutching up in this game. It's his second of the hockey game, more importantly. The game-tying goal. 10:37 remaining, a minute 08 on the... So be sent up to Melquist. Melquist, his shot turned aside. Rebound there, right in front, crashing away. West K scores! But it's poked up well along the boards by Lyndon Christian. Chasing down this loose puck. Springer able to beat one man. Slides it into the slot. They score! What a play from Springer! Colin walks in. His shot scores! Number 16 lets her rip. Right past the outstretched glove of number 30 and West Kildonan coming away with their 5th victory of the year. That team now up to 5-1 on the season. As for West K, they're going to be back in action today against Kildonan East, back at Seven Oaks Sportsplex. As for the Lyndon Christian Wings, won't be back in action until next week for this group. Rest of the action this week, there's 2 games today and 2 games tomorrow in the Price Division. Check out winnipeghshl.ca for all of the details regarding the Price Division, the Winnipeg Free Press Division, as well as the Platinum Promotions Division. In terms of the stats leaders in the Price Division, before we head to a commercial break, as we show you now, Warren's goaltending has been phenomenal to start off this year. That was a big part of their identity last year, was how good their goaltenders and their defense has been. They've only faltered once this year, but bounced back big time with a 3-0 victory earlier this week. Cole Ellen's 4-0 with a 923 save percentage, 2 shutouts on the year too. Mason Clausen's been a workhorse for Warren, and then his counterpart Josh Tristram, 2-0 with a 971 save percentage and a shutout in there. Niverville, we've seen some changes up top. That used to be all Niverville players for the Panthers in the top 5, but now we see Lyndon Christian's Eden Schellenberg, who had a goal in that loss to West K on Tuesday. He now has 10 goals in 9 games played for 15 points on the year with the 5 assists. And even though Windsor Park is yet to win a game this year, as we'll flash the standings once more, they do have 3 points as they've lost in extra time 3 times out of their 9 games. But bright spot for them has been Carson St. Lawrence, and yeah, I can attest to that. He's been electric every time he's touched the puck this season on our network. Hopefully, maybe he can help guide them out with a huge game coming up next for this Windsor Park team, as Windsor Park, as mentioned, in action today against the Lundar Kodiaks. And it's a winnable game, I'd say. Lundar, not one of the stronger teams in the Price Division. They have a 1-6-1 record heading into today. As mentioned, check out winnipeghschoolhockeyleague.ca or winnipeghshl.ca for all the details. We're going to throw it to a commercial break, and then we got some exciting announcements to end off this edition of the show.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
Welcome back to this edition of the Winnipeg High School Hockey League podcast. Want to give a shout out, by the way, to the Kodiaks, River East that is, who were on a trip to the province's nation capital in Ottawa. As for River East, taking on, well, I believe Louis-Riel, as that's why Louis-Riel is not competing in games this week in the league. So, be sure to check back here as we'll have an update on how that tournament ends up going for both those teams by the end of the weekend, as we'll have our next edition of this podcast out next week. So we'll be able to have all the news. We'll have highlights in next week's episode, and it's exciting times. We're getting into December. I want to thank everyone for supporting the game day broadcast so far. It's meant a lot to everyone that's tuned in. We're hoping that our viewership can only grow from here. We actually did see a bit of an uptick of viewership throughout this month, which is great too. So thank you to everyone that has been supporting us. If you'd like to support us moving forward, we're going to have December games dropping soon in terms of having them scheduled out for you to pre-register. We have another game today, last one of the month, JH Bruns at home taking on the Kelvin Clippers. That's actually coming up in under 2 hours now, 4:30 at Saltdale Community Club. But as I mentioned all season long, money in this venture that we're doing, if you spend money with us, not only are we going to, of course, profit from it, but the leagues also profit from it too. So we have a revenue split in place with the Winnipeg High School Hockey League where they do see some of the money back. And I think, if you're unable to make the games, if it's a pain for you to get to the rink because some of these games are pretty early and inconvenient for parents to get to with their work life. I know that there are a lot of parents that actually attend the games, which is great to see the support there too. But if you're unable to make it, hey, we're a great alternative to be able to watch the games. We provide full commentary. We're providing more graphics, more interviews as this year goes along, trying to make it as pro-like as possible for you guys to enjoy, and at only $7 per game for single game prices, as well as our subscription prices. I feel like there's some pretty good value going back, and actually we're going to be giving students a discount moving forward too. If you use the promo code STUDENT26 and you are a student, you'll get 30% off any of our content. So that's a win to help students save a bit of money. I know that students don't exactly have the most money. I remember being in school and I wasn't working and didn't always have a ton of money on me. I was blessed to have great parents that would help me out financially with stuff that I'd want to get, certain things, right? But I know that not everyone has a situation where they can spend $7 if you're a student, right? So it brings it to about around $5, just under that. If you do use that promo code, if you notice the link in the description of this episode, it is a link to our Uscreen platform, and that actually takes you to some free content. So it's a few games that we put on there for you to enjoy if you use your YouTube credentials to sign in. It's that easy, and you'll be able to check out what our content is like before maybe you decide to purchase. And we may even have something that'll go into a type of loyalty type of program. Not really a loyalty program, but it's something similar to what would be involved in something like that. More announcements on that coming up next week, but that's pretty much all the information I want to tell you about right now. We have 6 MMJHL games coming up this weekend. We have 2 tonight, 2 on Friday, 2 on Sunday. Last game of MFHL game day coming up On Saturday, the MMJHL podcast and the MFHL podcast are also going to be returning. We did the Manitoba U18 or the Manitoba Hockey podcast today, which featured a Manitoba U18 AAA player who's the leading goal scorer and point getter in that league, or just leading scorer, in Cody Farrell, and Brad Nechwaduk of the Manitoba Women's Female Hockey Leagues, or Manitoba Women's High School Hockey League. So many different hockey leagues here in the province. My apologies there for butchering the name of the Women's High School Hockey League just there, but yeah, overall, a lot of great content here on the network, and a lot for you to check out. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates of when this podcast comes out, along with all of our other content. By the way, we're going to start posting highlights too soon here on the network, along with actually posting some of the games that we did a few months ago to start off this season that we've been unloading from our Uscreen service to make some space. Want to give two more special thanks, I guess three more, to you, the viewer, for tuning in, to Joel Schreyer of the Miles Mac Buckeyes for coming on and being the guest in this episode, as well as to our sponsors in Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Movement Fitness and Performance, Terrico Goaltenders, and Elite Prospects for sponsoring another edition of the official Winnipeg High School Hockey League podcast, Scholasticks. Until episode 11 next week, everybody, I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. Wishing you a wonderful rest of your weekend. Hoping we see you at JH Bruns and Calvin today in the live stream chat. And yeah, until next time, everybody, we'll see you later. Take care.